Hey friend, and welcome back to Copy and the Marketing Podcast, where you learn how to write copy that sounds like you but converts better. Today I invited 3 guests on the podcast. They are business coaches and business strategists. It is Candice Coppola, Ceels Lockley, and Renee Bowen. And we are all answering a few basic questions. Should you, as a service provider, have pricing on your website? If so, why? If not, why not? And we had some surprising answers in here. So be sure to listen to the entire episode to hear their unique perspective. We also discuss the downside to adding pricing onto your website, especially if you are a bespoke or custom service provider, as well as trends and a few final thoughts. Let's dive in with some introductions. Ladies?
Hey, it's Candice Coppola, host of the Power and Purpose podcast and business coach for wedding pros.
Hi, my name is Ceels Lockley and I am an offers coach. That means that I help service providers, experts, coaches, people who work in the service provider industry to work on their offers, to refine them, to build out clear ecosystems, to get aligned on their offers and to make them profitable.
Hey, I'm Renee Bowen, and I am a photographer for over 20 years, a professional portrait photographer, and I'm also a life and a business coach for creative entrepreneurs and photographers. I also am a photography educator, and I have a podcast called Tried and True with a Dash of Woo.
Let's rock and roll with the hard-hitting questions. Do you think that service providers should have their pricing on their websites?
I do really believe in the power of adding your pricing to your website. I think that service providers who don't add their prices to their websites are losing out on business. In my experience of working with hundreds of service providers, the common problem is that they are having a client attraction issue. And one of the reasons why I think a lot of people aren't signing clients is because they don't have that transparency within their own website.
Unequivocally, yes, you should have pricing on your website. Pricing on your website actually becomes an asset and an attractor. And in today's market where we're in a trust recession and it's getting more difficult to capture someone's attention and earn their trust, having pricing on your website and being able to clearly explain who you are, what you do, and what it costs to work with you will become one of the greatest sales assets that you have. Because your ideal customer, whether you work in the wedding industry or you're a service provider in any industry, wants to see clear and transparent pricing on your website. Go to any Reddit thread, go to Instagram threads, and just take a look at the conversations that are happening over in those places. Time and time again, customers are saying, if you don't have pricing on your website, I'm leaving, which means you're losing out on potential clients and, of course, potential revenue. For whatever reason, if you do not have pricing on your website, I'm encouraging you to change that today. Go and put at the very least a starting price so people can understand an initial investment in working with you. But even better, spell it out for me in a very easy to understand way what your pricing looks like for the different levels of service, and give me, the intelligent customer, the option to decide based on everything on your website and throughout all of your marketing channels whether you are going to be the right fit for me.
I haven't shared this much publicly, but I am engaged and I am planning a wedding. And as I have gone to various venues and photographers and DJs and other service providers, what I don't want to do is muck up my inbox with a bunch of newsletter subscriptions. I also, as a service provider, don't want to waste other service providers' time. So I have not reached out to a single service provider that doesn't have their pricing, or at least baseline pricing, available on their website. So you can use me as an example of buyer behavior and a real life example that if I don't have a baseline for how we're going to be working together, then I'm simply not reaching out. But I think that Candice said it better than I do.
I don't want to hop on a sales call. I don't want to fill out your contact form. I don't want to email you, and I don't want to have to DM you to understand your rates. And if you're making clients do that, you are losing opportunities. I know that you want to meet people. I know you want to get to know your customer. And I know that a sales call is an important part of the sales journey for so many different reasons. But I want to know your price before I get on that call because I don't want to waste my time and I don't want to waste your time. So, for all my OG business owners out there who've been doing sales calls for a long time, and you leave the pitch and the price reveal for the sales call, I'm going to challenge you to do something different and watch how significantly the types of clients who inquire with you and the types of folks who get on sales calls with you changes.
Okay, so this is such a great point. And when I'm working one-on-one with clients, the pushback that I tend to get is, okay, but Sam, I'm special. And I don't mean that to be snarky. What I'm saying is that every project is special. The folks that we're talking to here are business coaches for all kinds of businesses. And we've mentioned photography quite a bit, but I work with everybody from fitness pros to finance pros, coaches. But at the end of the day, everybody that I work with offers a one-on-one service, which means that you are special because your clients are special. They need something different from you. So my next question for these ladies was, then is there a downside to adding even baseline pricing on your website? Or is there another way that we should be looking at things, especially as bespoke or custom service providers?
That's the caveat here, is that you really do need to at least have a starting point for people. I always want my website and my copy specifically to filter people out as well. I want it to do its job and call out the people who are my people, but also tell people right away, hey, if you're looking for someone who's just going to meet you at a park for a couple $100, that's not me. And that's okay. Like, there's plenty of people who do that, but that's not what I do, right? So your copy, it needs to be woven in throughout. It can't just be on your investment page. It has to be like the whole vibe of everything that you're doing. So like by the time they get to this inquiry or investment page or whatever, they already know, like, okay, this is a little bit more higher end. This is not going to be something, super cheap, let's just say.
Now, is there any reason why you should not put pricing on your website, or is there any caveat to this? Because I don't want to speak in absolutes, although the scales heavily tip to being very transparent and thorough in your pricing on your website.
So what I'm hearing here is that having pricing on your website is beneficial to your time. It shows that you're respectful to other people's time and needs. And it's actually going to make your sales calls easier because you're not having a pricing conversation. You're not dropping an anvil and hiding, what do they call it, burying the lead at the end of a sales call. And it doesn't get awkward where you say, okay, so do you want to work with me? It's $5,000. I hope you say yes. Okay, if not, that's fine. Bye. I'll send you an email. It avoids the awkwardness that can come with talking about money on sales calls. So in conclusion, I'm hearing that yes, we should have pricing on our websites as service providers. I'm curious if these ladies have any other points that they'd like to make before we close out.
The only caveat that I would give here is for a small business owner who's just getting started and needs to get in front of as many potential leads as possible. Pricing on your website can certainly help you do that because it is an asset, but pricing also acts as a deterrent, which is a good thing. It filters out the wrong aligned clients. But either way, we still circle back to the truth and the reality, which is we are in a trust recession. It's getting harder and harder to earn trust because of clickbait and really crappy marketing and a consumer base that has been burned, but also is extremely intelligent and has high expectations, whether you are a fellow copywriter, you are a business coach, you are a wedding planner, or you are a t-shirt on Amazon. Everywhere you look, pricing is often very clear and transparent. So it raises red flags when our pricing is not clear and transparent on your website. Lower those red flags. I want you to raise green flags and be very transparent and clear in who you are, who you serve, what you do, and what it costs to work with you.
I also don't think it's a bad idea for you to make social content or even put a video of that on your website, talking about pricing and, the way that you do things, especially if you are full service. And let's say if you're a wedding photographer, same sort of thing, there's multiple levels of wedding photography. I do think that there should be qualifiers on there that says wedding prices start at, or the investment starts at, so that people can at least tell right away, this person is in my budget or not. Because there is a photographer for everyone's budget. My take on it is that I do want to make it easy for people, right? I don't want them to have to jump through all these hoops just to find out that I'm way outside their budget. Because that annoys me as a consumer as well. If I'm going out there and I'm looking for someone to help me with pieces of my business, for instance, I want to know what I'm going to be sort of looking at here. I don't expect to see full pricing. I expect them to send me, it's probably going to be something like a customized quote, but I at least want to know right off the bat if I'm wasting my time.
I've worked with hundreds of different service providers, and I've worked with a lot of different cases of service providers who have been in a situation where they weren't showing their pricing on their site. Perhaps they were potentially either putting them behind a little bit of a data point. So, sign up for my email list to get my service guide, or indeed they were getting people to inquire first, inquire now, or contact me now, or send an inquiry. And that was the first point where people needed to go in before they got to see the pricing. And so what we were doing with all of these clients is very similar, is saying, look, you can put your prices front and center. It's not going to dissuade people. It's actually going to help validate and make them sort of feel ready to invest. And what we really noticed over all of these different examples is the same thing, that these clients of mine, these service providers, coaches, experts, all felt a massive shift in the way that they were talking about their offers, in the confidence of positioning their offers, and actually their prices feeling much more aligned for them, because no longer were they coming at their prices from a place of guesswork. That's a big piece of the work that we do. But also they were really able to get behind the price and be proud of the price, and therefore put it on their site and no longer be embarrassed to say the number. I think that there is some nuance to pricing. There always is nuance to everything about pricing. But where there are service providers who perhaps do very bespoke work, I think it can be difficult to list pricing without dissuading people, or indeed, making, a lot of people say to me, well, I don't want to put my prices on my website because my competitors will copy me, and what I do is very bespoke. And what I say to this is, I think it's really important to put some kind of context of your pricing on your site, whether you are a bespokey kind of service provider or coach, or whether you are doing packages, because actually what your clients want to see, even if they can't see exactly what it's going to cost up front, because you need to do a custom proposal, you need to give them an example. So always have examples. Like, here is an example of a scope of work I can do for you for this. Let's say it's a really bespoke website. This is an example. This is what you get. This is a typical cost from X amount. And a from price is just as powerful as having a price, right? Or not having any price at all. It's more powerful to have a from price, and it's more powerful to have something in place.
Great. And ladies, before we go, where can we find you?
You can find all of that information at reneebowen.com. And I'm pretty much Renee Bowen across the board on social media. I'm most active on Instagram, but I am everywhere pretty much, but happy to chat in the DMs as well. And I'd love for you to listen to my podcast, Tried and True with a Dash of Woo.
You can find me on my website, ceelslockley.co. I'm also really active on Instagram, ceels.lockley.
I would love to connect with you, and if this resonated with you, you can find me at CandiceCoppola.com or on my podcast, The Power in Purpose. Thanks for listening.
This has been another episode of Copy and adding the investment on your website is part of the copy that goes on your website. It's part of what convinces people to book with you and potentially to buy with you. So it is copy and sales psychology, copy and understanding your buyer, copy and how we fit into what people need. If you've been enjoying these group episodes that I've been experimenting with, please let me know by DMing me at nomad.copy or shoot me an email at samantha@nomadcopyagency.com. I can't wait to see what we come up with together in the new year. If you have any questions about done-for-you copywriting, or what it looks like to join Copy on Demand, please feel free to reach out. See you next week.